So heads up, the second half of this video is going to be taken up by Star Twinkle stuff, so I figured I'd just do my usual miscellaneous announcements here instead. The Sinful Gear G review is almost done and should be out in the next few days, hopefully in time for Christmas. And the review following that should be Doki Doki sometime in early 2019. And no Hakuto review next week as pretty much all anime are taking New Year's week off. With all that said, let's get on with the review, and by the end of this, I'm probably gonna sound like a Grinch, aren't I? Continuing where we left off last week, Santa Claus had fallen from his sleigh. As it turned out, he was forced to eject after he had succumbed to a flu that he had caught the previous day. Now you see, this is what happens when you carb load the night before, Saint Nick. Actually, he had got it from one of his reindeer while nursing it back to health. Okay, I wasn't under the impression you could catch an animal's flu, and while we're on the subject, are the reindeer okay without a rider? Needless to say, the conflict that's going to take up half of this episode's runtime is going to focus on the Precure helping Santa deliver his gifts. Oh boy, looking forward to this one. To earn some points with his daughter, Dr. Tromp stopped by to offer his services. Doc, by any chance, did you collab with some place called Skynet to build that thing? Meanwhile, Triazu, Georgie Boy was painting a really impressive looking field of sunflowers, which he would start to white out by the end of the episode. How textbook symbolic. We were also reminded that these two were kind of an item, but George lost interest and jealous when it was obvious she was more concerned with her advancing years than actually pursuing him. Are you talking about the show? Because yeah, I agree. We also briefly cut it over to her former Kohai because they're going to be relevant to this episode, unfortunately. You'd think their actors would at least improve a little by now. Back with the Precure, Dr. Tron was still trying to bond with his daughter, and okay, I'll admit, if these two had just been built up a little better, they'd probably be the most endearing duo in this show. Yukari Tamura and Takaya Hashi are the two most veteran actors in this cast, and they can produce a very natural chemistry. Sadly, like a lot of things this season, they kind of missed the mark, though what is there is at least halfway decent. During this scene, we also learned the meaning behind the doc's name. Okay, that's actually kind of interesting because for the longest time I thought his name was referring to trauma. Also, they use the language aside from French or English in this show? Is that to say that's actually the most miraculous thing to come out of this episode? Anyway, after a brief scene that reminded us that Saya's arc was wrapped up rather sloppily, Hana, Emiru, Santa, and Trom got into his robo-sleigh. I am going to have nightmares until next Christmas of that thing! Anyway, standard present delivery montage with them stopping by a few kids' houses, including comforting a little girl whose parents couldn't be home for the holidays, and please can we just move on from this because I'm really starting to get the urge to badmouth the holiday by pointing out what that glowing tower kind of looks like. Alright, so during all of this, Jealous took Trom's device from episode 31 that her Kohai used to turn into an Oshimaida. Yes, hello, I'd like to place an order for about a dozen white roses, oh, hold on now. Yeah, I just figured I'd make preparations for this character's inevitable burial. We all know it's coming. Sure enough, while throwing a private party with all their former adversaries, the Precure got a party crasher in the form of Jealous. After absorbing Trom's Asu power, and I'm assuming dozens of other civilians along the way, Jealous used the device to turn into a Mooshimaida. And for an Aoyama episode, this wasn't a terribly animated fight scene, but still not great. And of course, it was cut short when the Kohai came in to stop their former boss by reminding her of their times together before Karasu? Huh, what's the backstory behind that? That honestly looks kind of interesting and could actually benefit all the characters involved in. We only got about 5 minutes left in the episode? Okay. So, after being purified, buried, Jealous overcame her midlife crisis that was likely the representation of the lost decade's waning relevance in the modern era, and no one cares about my lectures anyway, do they? Anyway, the Precure finally had their little Christmas party after parting ways with Santa. Thanks for wasting more than half the episode with your dumb troubles there, fat man! And the episode ended with the only halfway decent subplot of this episode of Rue sharing some curry she made for Trom. Please, I really don't want to say anything bad about Christmas. Okay, little compromise. I'll say that the first half of this episode had just been its own thing, a little advert for Christmas, maybe a little special outside of canon. I would have been perfectly fine with it. Get everyone into the holiday mood, I'm sure it would have been all nice and everything. But when you take up the first half of what's technically a plot-relevant episode about a character whom I actually kind of like because of her real-life parallels with a very fascinating part of Japan's economy, then you make my heart shrink 2 sizes smaller. And it's not even as though they couldn't have done the Christmas stuff and plot-relevant stuff in one episode. We've seen Precure do it at least acceptably well, and I've seen it done really well in Kamen Rider. Specifically, the Exeda Clause episode where they had a admittedly very goofy fight scene with a set of power-ups they only used once, but they also ended that episode with the sudden yet well-built-up death of a main character. I won't spoil who because you really should check out X8, it's an excellent series. Then again, Jealous has been such a non-entity in recent episodes that I'm not even sure if they really could have done anything, even if they removed stuff like the extraneous delivery montage. As we reach the final episodes, many of the dangling plotlines are really starting to catch up with the show. That said, I do still at least wish they tried with this one because again, I like this character and what she represents. Like, they could have had Jealous's relationship with her Kohai parallel with the Rue and Trom subplot, as both did deal with themes of familial bonds. Because again, at least the father and his robo-daughter stuff was halfway decent in spite of the material given to them, like with this scene. Did you notice that subtle little bit of playfulness in Rue's voice with that final line? That was not the product of the script, but rather the byproduct of 2 veteran actors working off each other. Yukari Tamura and Takahashi really should work together in a different show, because episodes like these make me want to recreate a certain scene from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Still, it is the holidays, and I don't want to have to leave you guys on such a negative note. So as I said, we're going to take a look at some early images for Star Twinkle. I do find a lot of it very refreshing for the franchise, as well as pretty fun to poke fun at. So recently, there have been a lot of images flowing about that claim to be leaks of the next season's Star Twinkle. Many of them have been easily dismissed as fake, but this one seems to be real, at least based on the second image we found of it. First of all, unless somebody has way too much free time on their hands, it's very unlikely someone is going to make these many fake Precure pictures, much less try to recreate someone else's art style. Second, these, I think, postcards seem to have the Star Twinkle logo in the bottom right hand corner. It's hard to tell. Still, the fact that they aren't blatantly photoshopping it right into the middle of the picture seems to suggest they're not trying to fool anyone. Lastly, there's this logo. Now, obviously it doesn't say Star Twinkle, but rather it's the logo for a phone app called Deru Toru. I said Toru, not Toro. From what I can gather, it works with a phone's camera to project 2-dimensional images off the paper and into an AR image. It honestly sounds kind of cool, even though it doesn't have the best reviews on Google Play, but that's not important here. What is important is the fact that this app's parent company, Sunstar Stationery, produces toy merchandise, of course including Precure. Now, as of the time of writing this, they're only selling Hugto goods, but it is pretty much guaranteed that they'll also sell Star Twinkle stuff when it comes out. So yeah, unless someone is really creative enough so that they can make one of the most obtuse ways of tricking everyone, this picture is legit. With that in mind, let's actually analyze these pictures. This says that it's an ad for these 2 postcards that will be out in 2019. The kanji atop them says, "Do not recreate." Which means this video is probably going to get taken down. Nah, but seriously, the most important takeaway is this line that advertises how, through the Deru Toru app, you can hear the voice of Cure Star. Oh, so someone's gonna read from this Japanese sports magazine. Yeah, I'm not even kidding, this exists. Why would anyone name a sports magazine this? But yeah, obviously it's talking about this season's Pink, which, yeah, let's take a look at this girl. Okay, so I'm not totally sold on this dress yet. It's a bit too plain for my taste, and kind of reminds me a bit too much of Cure Heart, especially the shoulder feathers. Though that opinion might change when I see it in action, and I do like pretty much everything else about this design. Despite what Def the Kid might say, I actually really like this fashionably asymmetrical stocking. Those star accessories are cute, and that hair. We've gotten plenty of pigtail Cures, but no one with Saturn-shaped tips. I think what I like the most about them is that they remind me of Deko Mori from Love and Chunibyo. I swear, her finisher appear involve her swinging those things around. And going back to the first leak picture, we get a better view of the rest of the team. Again, I'm not crazy about these outfits, though I do kind of like the bubble shoulder pads on the teal Cure. And just like with Cure Star, there might be something else about their designs that we're not seeing right now that might appeal to me. What does stand out in this picture is this thing. Oh good gravy, look at it. Look at it! Look at it! Look at it! Okay, the really oversized head is one thing, but those ears. Cure Star already has it down with her hair, so we don't need it on the mascot character. Sorry if I'm sounding overly harsh, there's just something about a mostly white mascot character, likely from outer space, with big yellow rings around its ears that kind of make me feel a little uncomfortable. Still, those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you like these outfits? And do you think Cure Star's Saturn buns are as awesome as I think they are? Hey guys, so as I was editing this video together, a friend of mine sent me a couple more scans he found on Twitter, where we get to see a little more of this team, so let's take a quick look at these as well. Here we see that the teal Cure is also sporting an asymmetrical sock, automatic win there, and the purple Cure's dress kind of looks like my umbrella. Weird choice there, but getting a better look at the yellow Cure's design, I think I could safely say she has my favorite outfit design. I mean, I still prefer Star's asymmetry and Saturn buns, but still a really nice dress there. Also, apparently Vanillish is part of the team. Yippee, I can't wait to hear everyone complain about how he doesn't match up with the aesthetic of the rest of the franchise. Anyway, the main takeaway from this picture are the key items of this art-based Precure team, of course being pens. And just like any good artist, each of them seem to have a whole set of pens for different purposes, with Star mainly using a quill pen. Good choice. Also, my friend pointed out that these designs are probably from the same guy behind Doki Doki, hence the shoulder feathers. If they can lend themselves to some good action scenes, then I'm officially sold on this season. Looking at the full article this comes from, we can actually see these girls in their civilian forms, as well as their names. We already know Cure Star, purple is Cure Serenade, and while these names are cropped out a little, we can confirm that they're Milky and Soleil respectively. Also, their fairies' names are Fua, as in Fluffy, geez I'm surprised it took them this long to use that name, and Brunzu, though I'm still gonna call him Vanillish. Going to their civilian forms, we learned that their real names are Erina Amamiya, Hikaru Hoshina, Rara Hogoromo, and Madoka Kaguya?
But I want to be a magical girl.
Okay, seriously, you guys already had a Cure with that as a surname. Stop trying to tempt the devil! The last magazine scan is an ad for the next crossover movie, Miracle Universe, coming out in March 2019, which thankfully seems to be going back to the 3-team format, and they're also advertising the... Anyway, back to the original video in progress. Leave your comments below, and until next time though, farewell for now my friends, and I hope everyone has happy holidays. Me personally, I'm going to give myself the gift of the carcass of a space bunny I hear scurrying around. I've got a special contract just for you this Christmas!